I'm Rob. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Donald Trump would have hated the Boston Tea Party. Do they even teach that in school anymore? It's getting scary at how much history is not being taught in school. It's a shame because it's fascinating. It's real life. It's like that real life crime drama podcast that you listen to, except it highlights Earth's most important events, and sometimes it exaggerates them, and sometimes it embellishes them, depending on who's writing the history. But it's concerning to me that some of this history is being lost, rewritten, tweaked for your viewing satisfaction, but it's important. And make no mistake, Donald Trump would have absolutely hated the Sons of Liberty, the fellas who dressed up as natives, the indigenous folk, and went onto that ship and dumped all that tea into the harbor. Here in Boston, you can actually go on like a replica ship and throw tea into the harbor. I wonder if they still do that. I wonder if that was shut down. Black Merlin, hello, sir. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. But yeah, if you didn't know that, if you come here to Boston and visit, there's a little ship that you can pay an admission fee. I don't think you have to. I think you have to pay for the show and the tossing of the tea. But you could go on this little replica ship. They have like trinkets and stuff. That's the last time I went on there. I was just looking at the little gift shop inside the boat. But you can go on this replica Boston Harbor Tea Party ship and throw tea into the harbor and reenact it. They don't let you dress up as an indigenous person, though. At least they did when I was in school and went there. But Trump would have hated it. If you think differently, just understand that Trump is saying you're a domestic terrorist if you vandalize Teslas. And at the time, just consider T standing for Tesla. At the time, the Boston Tea Party, that was the king's tea that was taxed and being sold. He was collecting the taxes from the Stamp Tax Act. That was money in King George III's pocket. And they said, F that. The Sons of Liberty, the little group of founding fathers, and radicals, leftist woke radical founding fathers, who said, we will have no king. They destroyed the tea to make a statement. They destroyed property. They destroyed assets. They destroyed capital. Okay? So when you have a president saying, long live me, the king, saying if you destroy goods, if you destroy merchandise, if you destroy our capital, you're a domestic terrorist. What he's saying is, long ago in history, if I existed and that Tea Party happened and I was the king, I would come after all of you. My cousin destroyed capital. He's in prison now. Amazon Carson. Interesting name. Hello. But Dakota Kid, to make your point, yes, that is a offense that you can face due process. But here in America, in 2020, in the year of the Lord 2025, Anno Domino, or whatever it is, Anno Domino, in the year of our Lord 2025, you are not a domestic terrorist for graffitiing, for drawing a dick on a Tesla. I'm just, no other way to put it. You're not. And Trump threatening all the people who destroy his buddy's assets, his wealth, is the same as King George III saying, oh, you motherfuckers are going to pay for destroying my tea, for coming after my money. I need this lad to say, hell yeah, brother. Joshua, what? I'm a GOP guy. I agree with what you're saying, though. I feel like I was duped. Dakota Kid, let me take a moment to say thank you for saying that. I've been doing this live stream for a long time, and as of recent, I've been saying that there are more people that need to say what you're saying if they feel what you're saying. And I feel like, my wife taught me a very important lesson long ago. She said, if you believe somebody and they duped you, as you put, that's not on you. You are a trusting individual. You said, I'm going to put my trust in you. That is no reflection of you. In fact, it shows that you are genuinely a good person who wants to trust people. What it does show is that these scam artists, these grifters, these authoritarian dictators took advantage of you. I'm pissed. I still wouldn't have voted for Kamala. Well, let me be very clear, too. I understand there's new people in the live stream. I've been doing this for a while. Please join the family, join our community. We're stronger together. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I link all the stories that I'm planning to talk about down below. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I think that is the biggest brainwashing that this country has pulled on the people to think you fit into a red or blue box, a donkey or an ass, which both of those are asses to me. The donkey and the elephant, they're both, giant asses. Although I love elephants in real life. But they've tricked you to think that you fit into one of those boxes and to move your agenda forward, that you need to trust in the red or the blue. But as somebody once said, a great meme once said, left or right, they're both wings of the same bird. They're both owned by Elon Musk. It's fun. Does anybody see the ironicalness of the right saying George Soros is funding everything and being scared of that? But now Elon Musk is blatantly funding everything and they're not scared of that. And why? Well, I think because they're like, well, he's imposing our agenda. We want this to happen. But I don't believe that. And I think yesterday I was watching Hassan, also, hold on, Dakota Kid. I'm with you now, it sounds like. Well, Dakota Kid, I'm going to be very honest with you, and then I'll read the next comment. To be with me, here's what I believe. It's very simple. I believe in a living wage. I believe if you look up FDR implementing the minimum wage and the unions that helped force him to do that, he said a minimum wage should not be a wage of the bare subsistence level of living. It should be a decent wage that you could live on, take a vacation, buy a home. And I don't believe any job should put you in poverty. I believe if you work 40 hours a week or 30 hours a week or 20 hours a week, you should be able to survive in the greatest country in the world. Fucking heavy air quotes. I believe that we should have healthcare like in the Scandinavian countries. I mean, hell, Joe Rogan is saying on his podcast, I believe that healthcare should be socially funded. Okay, Joe, then when Elon comes on, say, why don't you pay more in taxes? Like, you could never run out of money. Why don't you pay more in taxes so we can fund universal healthcare? And like you were saying, Dakota Kid, Kamala, I think people are fucking crazy to think that if you vote for all Democrats, right now we have all Republicans and we are a fascist state. We have a regime, okay? There are disappearing people off the streets. Just happened yesterday here in Somerville. But if we voted for all Democrats, we're not going to get universal health care, okay? The minimum wage isn't going to raise. Both of these politics have tricked you. They've duped us all in one way or another. And they're not going to save us. They're not coming to give us universal health care because Big Pharma, the private insurance companies, they'll all fund them. We'll never let it happen. They're the ones who write the laws. I mean, if you believe George Soros is funding everything, why aren't you understanding that Elon Musk is too? And that's why we need to tax wealth, not work. So I believe in universal healthcare. I believe socially funded healthcare that no one should have to pay outside of their taxes for, which many countries have figured out. I believe that kids in America shouldn't go hungry. I believe that old folks should be able to retire and just enjoy life and stop working at Target and bagging groceries and telling me about, because I like to ask everybody everything. I like to talk to people in public, including the guy yesterday who said, well, I was parking and he was like, oh, Elon Musk Cybertruck. And I go, yeah, fuck that guy. And he goes, fuck you. I said, well, you, sir, support a Nazi. But there are, and listen, that is some people's agendas. There are a lot of white supremacists in this country, and I encounter them almost daily now, whether they know it or not. Listen, leading up in the Weimar Republic, people that supported Hitler thought he was doing Germany first. They were like, oh, wait a minute, this is the agenda? And it's like, yeah, there were a lot of other people that were paying attention going, hey, there are some clearly disturbing signs. So to bring it back to you, Dakota, I'm sorry that I'm not reading all these comments. I don't want anyone struggling the way some are. And Dakota, I really, I hope you hit subscribe and the notification bell. We need people like you to speak out and just be honest and open. And if you missed it earlier, Dakota said, I feel duped. You know, I was part of the GOP or however you put it, and he feels duped. And that's good. That is good to come out and say, I was duped. Like, I don't want people struggling. I don't want people laid off. You know, if you believe in America first or whatever the hell people believe in, I don't know. Because if you say, I believe in America first, then that means old people should be retired. Kids shouldn't go hungry. We're not laying more people off. We're investing into green, renewable things in our country and providing a new wave of jobs that will last us into the future. That, you know, when Trump says, I believe in American workers, but then he's making his guitars, Bibles, shirts, hats, everything he's hawking to you in China, Nicaragua, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, wherever he's making it. He's not making them in America. This is easily looked up stuff. Hunt for Andrew. Feel duped. Trump is up front with everything he's done. There's a case to be made for that. Okay? But I am never, I really am trying to work on when people say, like, I feel duped, like, that's okay. You know, Dakota Kid might have not have been paying attention to everything. And that's really what I want to talk about today, is that there are a lot of people that aren't paying attention or think like, it doesn't apply to me, or they hear a soundbite, or, you know, you're not deeply entrenched in it. Now, listen, I've had experiences with the police since I was very young to understand that the fucking police ain't here to protect me. They are here to investigate me at all times, every interaction. And I got family that's cops. Every interaction that you have, they are trying to see if you fit a profile. And I've understood that for a long time. So I've never trusted the government in any source. In fact, that's why I think this red-blue brainwashing is so sickening and gross, because people sometimes go along with things because they think it's going to better their situation, better their country. And it's not until way far down the line where they go, oops, fuck. And at that point, it's too late. So I really encourage Dakota Kid. That's awesome. That is amazing. So here's where you and I are going to disagree. I'm just reading that first line. I prefer the free market over socialism. Listen, Dakota Kid, I want you to read the book, Shock Doctrine, The Rise of Disaster Capitalism. It talks about Milton Friedman, Chicago School of Economics, and how they wanted to do a free market and what that led into what Trump is doing. I mean, if you want to talk about a free market, Dakota Kid, I highly encourage you to just do some more reading. Understand that Cybertruck being recalled, all of them, and practically all of them, that directly aligns with why Elon Musk wants to get rid of regulations. He wants a totally free market, where that means if your truck crashes and explodes and you can't get out because the doors have secret hidden launch pads or latches to get you out, and the battery's dead so you can't get yourself out of it, you discover that on your own in the free market, that there's no government regulation intervening. The free market is the worst thing for anybody who is not a billionaire. But that's a tale for a different time. What I want to really talk about is how Trump would have gone after the Sons of Liberty. He would have, just like King George III, he's going to war with everybody. He is not American. He is a dictator. This is real stuff that is happening. And I understand it's hard to swallow the news sometimes. It's hard to sift out the news sometimes. It's hard to really comprehend how the news can impact the future and how this reflects on what has happened in the past. But there are people being disappeared. There are thought police that are going out there and they're not even police. We don't even know what they are. Are their badges real? I mean, there's a whole thing in America about having some kind of due process, and that due process is gone. And if you think, and this is the most disturbing part, if people are going, well, it's okay because it's a name I can't pronounce. Well, it's okay because they supported this. I want you to understand, and I'm even talking to like Taylor Swift, Eminem, where are like the big artists that think, well, I have $1 billion, I'll just go to a different country. I want you to understand that if they say, oh, well, you said this, you protested that. Well, number one, it's in the Constitution. It is a privilege of ours to be able to protest. That's what makes us a free society, to have a redress of grievances with the government. And if they become tyrannical, we can amend the government. But I just think of like Taylor Swift when she was writing her anti-misogyny songs, or Eminem when he's writing any kind of music. That is no different than saying I support this or I'm anti that. They're just doing it with a beat under it. And if you don't believe me, go look back into the late 80s and the 90s when Dan Quayle and all these motherfuckers, all these political assets to the billionaire class went after Tupac. They went after hip hop. They went after metal. They went after Metallica. They went after these musicians. This has happened before. And they did it because they said, well, these are inspiring crimes. It was whole thought police thing. And we're supposed to be anti that here in America. Icy Cold, appreciate you. Hit subscribe, hit subscribe and hit the notification bell. Whatever they turned it into, the notification button after, I don't know. I'm old, I've been on YouTube for too long. But I do bring you newsmentary every single weekday. But I mean, the politicians have used a secret police force before, whether it was this emboldened or not. You could just study and learn about history. But I bring up when they went after Tupac and his lyrics, or they go after Metallica and their lyrics. It's all the same thing. It's trying to say you don't get free speech if it disagrees with my agenda. And that's what we're seeing right now, because everybody that's being taken off the streets and disappeared, they just didn't align with the agenda that's in office right now. And that is a danger. I'm not talking Kamala and Trump. I'm talking about what is happening to the institution that you and people supposedly love, that includes the free speech and due process and all that shit. It is gone, folks. It left. And it was proven again yesterday. Right now, they're soft spoon feeding you this let's see how they take it. Let's just give them a little bit of the medicine. And if enough people are like, well, it's not me. Well, I can't pronounce that name. Well, they don't have the same skin color as me. Guess what? I mean, we all know there is no I hate to break this to people. Elon and Trump don't value anything. They have no shame. They will go with the wind. If a fart changes their direction, they'll go with it. They don't care. They have no morality, no ethics, no shame. They have nothing to stick to. And like, that's just been proven by them opening their mouths. So my point is if you're trying not to be a target, if you're like, well, I just agree with everything. I love the Sig Heil and I defended it and said it wasn't one. It's like, if they tomorrow decide that, like, if you defended that, we're now agreeing that that's what it was, and anyone that defended it, we're going after. Like, that's how easy this changes without due process, without free speech, without these things. And these things are gone, folks. They are gone. Like Henry Ford saying he will sell a car in any color as long as it's black. I don't understand that, but I'm not going to think too hard and long about him. But Dakota Kid, I love that you're up here in the comments. Sorry, we had free market in the 30s and 40s. No, we didn't. Hunt for Andrew. If anything, the 30s, after the big crash in 29, that's when FDR implemented things like Social Security, the minimum wage, the Great New Deal, which put so many people to work. If anything, there was more socialism in the 30s and 40s that led to the prosperity than anything else. And again, guys, just, do some history digging. It's fun. I fucking love it. That's all I'll read is stuff about history. It really is. It's amazing. But Dakota Kid, if you're talking about the free market, like unfettered capitalism, read The Shock Doctrine by Naomi Klein, called The Shock Doctrine, The Rise of Disaster Capitalism. And it just goes into how the junta and all South America was basically ravaged by dictatorships and authoritarianism, all in the name of the free market. But yeah, it's, and if you do believe in a free market, that doesn't agree with your beliefs of our taxes being funding our healthcare. It doesn't agree with like so many things, because the market dictates that whoever has the most money, we're seeing it. Whoever has the most money can decide what things are. And I'm pretty sure you don't have the most money. I don't have the most money. That's okay to not have the most money. In fact, that's not like the goal of life. I don't know when it became that, but people think like the goal of life is to have the most money to flex on others. And it's not. I don't know. Maybe I have degrees in econ, poli sci, and doctorate in CS. I do know what you're talking about, but socialism always leads to totalitarianism. Totalitarianism. I don't know what the right balance looks like, but it's not this. Well, Dakota Kid, here, let me just, if you have degrees in that, read the shock doctrine. You'll love it. Let's just say that we've been doing deregulated capitalism since the 80s, and we're here. We're in a fascist state, totalitarianism. Sorry, long ass word. So, Dakota Kid, here's my thing. This is where your GOP programming has like taught you to just go, well, I reject it. Because if we even try socialism, it could be this. It's all Ben Shapiro's, let's say this happens. And it's fucking dumb because we can just go, well, guess what has been happening? What do Elon Musk want? They want a free market. Donald Trump doesn't want regulations. He does not want people to say, you can't have kids work. Yesterday, I talked about this. In the Florida legislature, they're debating on kids going back to work because the immigrant population, the workforce of immigrants is being decimated. So they're saying, well, let's put kids to work. Let's get them out of school and have kids work. This is more and more deregulated capitalism. So I'm not going to talk about a hypothetical. And if you want to, let's look at FDR in the 30s and 40s and how some socialism implemented, or the biggest welfare states, the Scandinavian ones, are always the happiest in the world. They get the best bang for their buck. They see their tax dollars being used, and they are more socialist than America. We can look at living consequences of each system. And what I'm telling you is we are living in a more and more deregulated capitalist system. And what that means is Jeff Bezos now owns Amazon, Whole Foods, Twitch. They buy up everything. Just look at the story of Jeff Bezos and how after his family gave him that fucking $200,000, he basically said, I'm going to lose profits for years because I'm going to undercut the competition. And once we undercut them enough and they all disappear, we're going to be the only ones. Free market capitalism leads to monopolies. And that's what we have here in America. There's a bunch of working class people who, because money was cheap, got used to consuming like they were middle class. And now the boomers, retirement had come home to roost and can't afford it. Okay. Oh. So, again, Trump would have hated, if you're somebody, and I think most people can agree that the Boston Tea Party is a cool story, bro, as JB put it. Well, Donald Trump basically King Georged himself and said, if you deface Tesla's, the assets of my billionaire funder, how are people mad at George Soros, but Elon Musk is doing what they thought George Soros was doing, and they're like, this is fine, bro. This is fine. You can buy our government. This is totally fine. Donald Trump saying, if you deface property, you're a terrorist. Guess what? That tea, the colonists didn't say, hey, let's buy all the tea. Let's pay the Stamp Tax Act. Let's pay the stamp tax, and then we'll destroy it. Do you not believe in America anymore? Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. And if you don't, I can't help you. I'm not here to join your fascist, authoritarian dictator side. I'm here to say, listen, I get it. People are working hard. People are working long hours. People aren't paying attention to everything. But there are people, if you do notice the news, and your reaction is one of the ones that I've seen or have heard of, well, they're disappearing people that are different than I. In any way. They had different thoughts, different words, different protests, different beliefs. Like, wouldn't you qualify that as anti-American? Aren't you allowed to protest something that somebody doesn't? I mean, the Westboro Baptist Church, I don't know how old people are, they went around protesting veterans' funerals. Like, they were some of the most heinous people, but they were still protected under free speech, due process, all these things that America blessed people with. Alex Jones, he has caused so much pain and suffering for parents who lost their children. And that dude fucking still got to do it on a main social media platform for so long. I implore people to understand that this doesn't stop where you think it does. You're not going to avoid being the target when the target is not, it's an idea. The target is, whatever Trump and Elon. I implore you. I implore you. This president isn't a president. What I'm saying is he's avoiding court orders. When a president ignores the court, what rule of law is there left?